Well, hey, everybody, this is Robert, and welcome to today's news report on Outbreak News TV. And we'll be looking at the chikungunya epidemic in Paraguay this year. Now, the U.S. CDC has spent a little time down there in Paraguay, and what they're seeing is a large epidemic, a very large one. They sent a team in late March to support the response to the current epidemic. Uh, The chikungunya virus first appeared in the Americas in 2013, and since that year it has caused outbreaks in many countries, including Paraguay. The CDC mentions that although chikungunya outbreaks are being seen in several countries in the region, however, the current epidemic is the largest that's ever been registered in Paraguay and is, in turn, one of the largest that have ever occurred in South America. Now, since the outbreak began in October 2022, there's been 137,462 cumulative cases, including 71,114 confirmed and probable chikungunya cases. Now, the last time we've seen numbers like this was Brazil in 2019. Fortunately, the Paraguay General Directorate of Health Surveillance is reporting a slight decrease of cases during the past few weeks. What they do is every week they put out a report of the cumulative cases during the last three epidemiological weeks. And this time it was a hair above 10,000 cases. Somewhat lower. Recent weeks it's been like 12,000 up to 14,000. So it has dropped a little bit. So that's some good news. However, while some of these decreases have been reported in the hot spots of Asuncion and central regions, an increase in other health regions of the country is being reported. General Director of Health, Dr. Guillermo Sequeira, explained that while in the interior of the country there's an increase in cases, in Asuncion and Central there is a decrease. However, these are still the regions with the greatest weight in the epidemic. Quote, Central and Capital account for 47% of the cases, and all the other departments of the country, 53%, he stated. The health ministry has also reported 91 chikungunya deaths to date, which accounts for the vast majority of deaths in the Americas. Brazil has maybe around a dozen, maybe a little less, but Paraguay is definitely leading the pack on this particular situation with deaths and chikungunya. Okay, let's take a look at some more data out of Paraguay. The CDC officials in Paraguay report we are seeing a pattern similar to those seen in other chikungunya outbreaks, they assert. Normally, this disease causes fever and joint pain. Rarely can it cause severe disease and affect the brain, heart, liver, and other parts of the body. They report that people most at risk of severe disease or death from chikungunya are newborns and infants, people over 60 years of age, and people with health conditions like hypertension, diabetes, or heart disease. They mention that it is important that these risk groups prevent mosquito bites. And while they warn that pregnant women can pass the virus to children during childbirth, it's also important that they protect themselves against mosquito bites. Going back to the deaths, Paraguay officials say 2/3 of the fatalities come from the central department. 87% of fatalities presented with a comorbidity. The highest case fatality rates are observed in those under 1 year of age and in those over 80 years of age. Also in late March, Paraguay officials reported a high incidence of meningoencephalitis possibly associated with chikungunya. Dr. Sequeira reported on March 26th that 329 meningoencephalitis cases due to chikungunya have been reported in 2023 to date. that is a little bit on the unusual side. So we got to keep an eye on that and what's going on with that particular outcome from chikungunya. And lastly, I just want to go over uh, just a little bit about chikungunya itself. And the World Health Organization says that chikungunya is a mosquito-borne viral disease that causes fever and severe joint pain. The disease was first recognized in 1952 during an outbreak in southern Tanzania. It is an RNA virus that belongs to the alpha virus genus of the family Togaviridae. The name chikungunya derives from a word in the Kimakonde language of southern Tanzania, meaning to become contorted, and describes the stooped appearance of sufferers with joint pain. Chikungunya is transmitted to humans by the bites of infected female mosquitoes. Most commonly, the mosquitoes involved are Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus. These two species can also transmit other mosquito-borne viruses, including dengue, Zika, and yellow fever. They bite throughout the daylight hours, although there may be peaks of activity in the early morning and late afternoon. Chikungunya disease has now been identified in over 110 countries throughout Asia, Africa, Europe, and the Americas. So, yeah, this has been quite a ride down in Paraguay. And there's, of course, concerns of the virus spreading over the borders. Even the officials here in the United States are showing concern about it. The CDC says so far there's been 16 imported cases into the United States. The bulk of them, like 10 of them, are from New York City and New York State. But it's not clear whether those were travelers to Paraguay. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Chikungunya is back and forth. Paraguay actually has more cases this year than Brazil. Brazil typically has the most down there year after year, but not this year so far. Anyway, if you want to keep up on the chikungunya epidemic in Paraguay, visit the website, outbreaknewstoday.com. There's at least reports on a weekly basis, given the latest updates and all other kinds of news coming out of South America, whether it be dengue, whether it be yellow fever, or a myriad of other diseases. Check it out on outbreaknewstoday.com. And I appreciate you watching today. And thank you for watching Outbreak News TV. Have a great day.